In today's Heaven's Hospitality, we're going to discover that sometimes we can do all the right things and still miss out on what God has for us in His hospitality. As you listen to today's Bible story, I want you to consider Cornelius and Peter and what it was that each of them had to either receive or let go of in order to be a part of heaven's hospitality and as well give it. In Acts 10, this is what we are told. Now in Caesarea there was a man whose name was Cornelius, and he was a part of the Italian regiment. Now he and his entire family were known for being devoted people of prayer, and even for their generosity in taking care of people in need. Well, one day at about 3 p.m, the angel of the Lord came to Cornelius in a vision, and he said, "Cornelius." And Cornelius cried out, "What is it, Lord?" And the angel of the Lord said to him, "The Lord has seen your devotion, and He has heard your prayers, and it has come up as an offering to Him. He now wants you to send for a man named Simon Peter, who is at the sea, at Simon the tanner's house. Send men to go bring him back to you." Well, as soon as the angel of the Lord left, immediately Cornelius gathered 2 of his servants and 1 of his soldiers that he trusted, and he told them what happened, and he sent them to Jaffa to get Simon the Peter. So about noon the following day, Peter was on the roof and he was praying, and he ended up falling into a trance. And while he was praying, a sheet with 4 corners fell down from heaven. And on this sheet there were 4 hoofed animals and wild animals and reptiles and even birds of the air. And Peter heard the angel of the Lord say, "Peter, kill and eat." Peter said, "No, Lord, for I have never eaten anything unclean." And the angel of the Lord said to Peter, "Do not call unclean what I have called clean." And then it happened 3 times. And then the sheet went back up into heaven. And Peter was just sitting there on the roof, pondering, thinking through what had just happened, when the men from Cornelius arrived, and they had found out where the house of Simon the tanner was at. And the Lord appeared to Peter in a vision again, and he said, "Peter, there are men that have come from Joppa. I have sent them. Go down to them, and it's okay for you to go with them." And Peter went down and met them where they were standing at the gate, and they said, "Are you Simon Peter?" And he said, "Yes." And they said, "We have come from Cornelius. He is a man who is greatly devoted and respected by the Jews, and he has sent us to bring you back to give him a message." Well, Peter invited them in to be his guests. So the next day, Peter and some other believers in the area went with him to Cornelius's house. And Cornelius was preparing for their arrival, and he had gathered everyone into his home. And when they saw that Peter and his group had arrived, Cornelius ran out and fell down and bowed before Peter. And Peter's like, "Get up, man. I am a man just like you." And he said, "I now know, because God has shown me, I'm not allowed to call anyone unclean that He calls clean. And so I came. I'm here to see what you have to say. What is it that you want from me?" And Cornelius said, "Well, I had this vision at about this time where an angel of the Lord came and said that he had heard my prayers and seen my devotion, and that I was to send for you because you were going to come and give us a message, and that we need to hear everything you have to say. So we're here and ready." And Peter looked at them and he said, "I now know that God has no favorites. He does not have favorites amongst the nations. If anyone should follow him and believe in his name and do what is right, that they are welcome. You've seen and you've heard, you know about the things that have happened all around Judea and Galilee, and that how God had sent his son Jesus, and how he was anointed of God, and that he went around and he was preaching and teaching and healing and casting out demons. But then they killed him, and you were witnesses to that. And he rose from the dead, and he appeared to some of us, and he has asked us to go and testify to what has happened. And as Peter was speaking, the Holy Spirit fell down upon them, and they all began to speak in different languages and tongues. And Peter was amazed, and the people with him were amazed. And Peter's like, you have seen for yourselves that the Spirit of God has fallen upon them. Can anyone argue that they should not be baptized? And so Peter baptized them with water because they had been baptized with the Spirit. And then they asked Peter, would you please stay with us? And he stayed and continued teaching with them. May God honor the telling of his word. So as we have listened to these stories unfold of Cornelius and Peter, what did you learn about Cornelius? What was he missing? He was said to be a man who was devoted and a prayer warrior and generous. But what did he not have? And what about Peter? He was a disciple of God, but there was something Peter had to let go of. What did Peter have to let go of in order to go and take the message so that all people everywhere, both Jew and Gentile, could know the Lord? What is it that maybe you need to let go of, or your community needs to let go of? Or what do they need to receive so that you or your community could walk in hospitality? It's fun being in the Word, being with Jesus, and being transformed. Shalom, y'all.